Were preferred by the militia and by the rangers that garrisoned this fort and controlled the settlements around here. They were preferred because of their accuracy, and they were very appropriate for the type of warfare that's going on here in the backwoods of Pennsylvania. The musket was the more common military arm of the era. This is what you'd want to arm your regular troops with. Many militia companies that were armed with these, and these were shipped out here to the frontier of Bedford County from mainly Carlisle to arm militia that was unarmed. One of the things that happened early in the Revolution here in Bedford County is the county officials gathered up all the privately owned firearms they could lay their hands on to arm Continental Army units that were being enlisted to fight further east. So there's a scarcity of arms on the frontier. When the Native American raids began in the fall of 1777, this is 2 years into the war, and it's very embarrassing for the county officials now because this area is pretty defenseless. So they have to find a way to arm a lot of the militia and the ranging companies. So they're going to be shipping muskets up from Carlisle, PA. There's a big ordnance depot there. And they did an inventory about this time of Bedford County, and they found that there were 100 muskets and 200 rifles in private hands at this point. So we're going to just start off with the musket. It's the most common weapon. It's the weapon that General Washington preferred his troops to be armed with, most of his troops. And it's also the cheapest and easiest to use weapon that you're going to see today. So we're going to start off with the common soldier's musket.
Alright, so today I have a smoothbore flintlock musket. Like you just said, they're preferred because A, you can reload these a lot faster than a rifle, at least on an open battlefield. So you're going to prefer the musket for that reason. But on top of that, it's very cheap, a lot cheaper than a rifle. You can get about 3 muskets for every rifle that you produce cost-wise. So that's why you're going to see a lot of muskets here. But what's going to happen, hopefully, when I pull the trigger, hopefully this piece called the cock, because it looks like the head of a rooster, is going to be thrown forward, and you'll see in the mouth, or the beak, is going to be a piece of flint. Now that piece of flint will hopefully hit this piece of steel, and hopefully that will create sparks. And hopefully those sparks will land on top of some black powder that will hopefully be in that pan there. Hopefully that's going to ignite the powder in the pan, making a flash in the pan. Who here has ever heard that saying before? Flash in the pan. Kind of like the Buffalo Bills. Yeah, we're from New York, so people around there don't really like the joke. But hopefully the flash in the pan will hopefully travel through this small touch hole, and it will hopefully ignite the main charge at the bottom of the barrel here, which will hopefully create enough pressure in the barrel to send the round lead musket ball out towards the enemy. But I'm sure you noticed that one word I used quite a bit. Hopefully. Hopefully. Yeah, I use that a lot because this gun will not go off in any weather condition. It won't go off in the sleet, the snow, the hail, the rain, too hot, too cold, too windy, too foggy, too muggy. Wednesday's not too great either. So there's even a battle in the American Revolution called the Battle of the Clouds, right near Philadelphia, actually, where the British and the Americans are about ready to fight each other. A giant rainstorm comes through and actually soaks through all the cartridge boxes of both armies, getting all the ammunition wet. So since neither side can shoot at each other, they cancel the battle. Yeah, kind of like a baseball game. It was a gentleman's war back then. All right. And what they would do is they would line up in those big long lines. Now most of you people probably think that that is a very bad idea, lining up in a big long line. Who here thinks that's a terrible idea? All right, well you guys are right today, because today we have machine guns, flamethrowers, sniper rifles, all that fun stuff. But back then obviously they don't have that. They have these. So to make these effective, what they're going to do is they're going to line everybody up and tell them all to shoot the same thing at the same time. That way someone will eventually hit something. So they're finding that is the most effective tactic to use with muskets. It's a little different with the rifle, but we'll get to that in a minute. But what I'm going to do first, I'm going to grab a cartridge out of my cartridge box. This is just a paper tube filled with black powder, and there would be a musket ball right here at the bottom of this cartridge in the 18th century. However, today, the insurance company really hates it when we kill our visitors. So, no musket ball today, I know, bummer, but there will still be black powder. It will still go boom, so don't be discouraged. So, This is the exact reason why they said you had to have at least 4 good teeth in your mouth. That meant somewhere to join the army back then. Bon appetit. I'm going to pour just a little bit of black powder into the pan. Now, I don't want to pour too much black powder into that pan because I would like to keep my eyebrows on my face. And I'm going to pour the rest of the cartridge down the barrel. The next step in this whole process is I am going to take my ramrod out, and I'm going to ram the cartridge down to the bottom of the barrel. And here's a very important part of the process that is very underrated. That is removing the ramrod from the barrel. Now normally, there's not enough powder in this to project this fast enough to actually go through someone. But let's just say I get really lucky. Okay, and I turn some poor British soldier or a Tory into a shish kebab. Okay, but I doubt that shish kebab at this point is going to dig this out of his chest and return it to me. Therefore, I have just turned my musket into a very expensive stick. Because really, I can't do much with it if I don't have this. I can't reload without this. So I'm going to remove that from the barrel and put this back where I got it. So, now I'm ready to shoot. But I would like to give the disclaimer. The gun does not always like to go off on the first try, even on a nice day like today. So please try to hold your laughter back until at least the 5th misfire. And hopefully here goes. I've been given the command to make ready. The next command would be take aim, and hopefully fire.
See, he's too modest about his weapon.
All right, so at this point, I will turn it back over to the rifle.
Actually, these are designed to be used at close range. You march within a couple hundred yards of your enemy, and you're going to blaze away, firing volleys. And as those volleys are taking men out, their morale begins to fail. Pretty soon, maybe their formation begins to break up, and the officers lose control of the men. At that point, if you're fighting in an open field such as this, you're going to go in with bayonets and finish it off. Whoever holds the field at the end of the day wins the battle. Now, the more common and more preferred weapon here on the frontier was the rifle. There's even a letter from one of the county officials here in Bedford County that says, at this time period, that rifle or muskets are not fit for fighting Indians. So they valued the accuracy of the rifle. Oftentimes in these frontier battles, the first shot counts. So the more accurate weapon is the more popular weapon for the frontiersmen. With this, we're going to turn it over to our rifleman.
Good afternoon.
Hi.
You see in my hand, as you said, the preferred weapon of the frontier, the Pennsylvania long rifle. This is manufactured in Pennsylvania. The Pennsylvania Germans had a really skill of manufacturing a very accurate weapon. This particular weapon is a .45 caliber, a much smaller ball, but in that field of vision in front of me, there's not a spot out there that I couldn't hit a man-sized target with this accurately. You're not going to find me standing in a line. You're not going to see me marching up to them. I'm going to find a nice, secure place where I can pick out my targets. The unfortunate thing in this, carrying this, if I were captured by the enemy, I'd be executed for murder because, as the musket man said, you'd be lucky if you hit somebody. Luck doesn't have anything to do with it. I would be considered a murderer. But as the captain also said, most of my enemies out there are the neighbors. And they're skulking around in the edge of the bushes. They're out at a distance, and they know I'm carrying it. They fear this weapon. They fear the man behind it. It's not a military weapon. It's my hunting weapon. If I'm going to eat for this winter, I've got to get deer and elk and all other kinds of game out there. One shot, and everything in earshot of this rifle is going to run like heck. So I have to have something accurate. It's not a multi-shot weapon. You can stand there all day and shoot. After about 5 rounds, the rifle becomes so fouled I will not be able to jam rifle balls down it any further. So a .45 caliber ball is about the size of the end of your small pinky. It goes in that small and comes out that big. It has a great muzzle velocity, a lot of power behind it. Excuse me. Unlike Our friend, he loads with cartridges. Today I would be loading with the cartridges because I did not prepare my powder horn. This is going to slow my loading process down when I use the horn. And I will run through the process without loading because there's no powder in there. So I would grab my powder measure, which has an appropriate amount of space in it for the right amount of powder I want. Pop the end off, load my measure, pour the powder down the barrel. If I'm shooting multiple shots, I've got 4 or 5 musket balls in my mouth, where I might reach in my pouch and pull one out. Having the musket balls in my mouth permits me to lubricate them a little bit. I would spit one in the barrel, force it down, maybe use the end of my knife, jam it in a little bit, pull my ramrod out. It's going to be a struggle to get it going. Once I get it going, the rifling in the barrel makes a track. I jam it down pretty good. And again, you can't do anything without your ramrod, so it's got to go back. I'll bring it up, and I'll prime it. If I'm not going to shoot, I won't prime it. I'm loaded. I'm ready to go. I'm not going to prime this weapon until I'm ready to shoot at something. So I might carry that load around in there for a bit. So excuse me while I load with a cartridge. But
That's a safety matter for us modern people, so that we're not carrying around a pound of powder in a powder horn. It's actually really just a grenade waiting to go off.
You notice that you'll find a lot of rifles have a woman's name. It's Bessie or April or something. It's because they're very temperamental. They go off and so I have the same problem. It might go off, it might not. So we'll give it a good shot. So my target is that little sign, about 300 yards out in front of you.
A little what sign?
If I can see it, I can probably get a good shot on it. So I'm using a little bit lighter round in there. I'd probably put as much as 100, 120 grains of powder in there. That was about 70. So you notice from that sound, it's going to be a little bit louder. Anything's going to take off. That sign, that has now got a big hole in it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well done.